Hey guys, this is Dinosaur, and today I'm gonna do an attempt at drawing the beast from 20,000 Fathoms. And yeah, this video was requested by Davey GY Art with a Pen, and I thought I would give it a try. He told me that this was his favorite monster from any movie, so yeah, let's try it. But before we're gonna start the video, by the way, make sure you do subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a single video. Alright, so there we go. We're first gonna start with, well, let's see, because my lead isn't quite right. Alright, so we're first gonna start with drawing the basic shape for his body, which would be a circle like this. So at this area, this would be his rib cage. Now here would be his shoulder area, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys can see it pretty well. So yeah, this would be his shoulder area down here, and then there would be an area like this, so you could draw a line like this to indicate where the shoulder on the other side would be, which would be about over there. And then this would be his well, his chest kind of, and over here we would have his neck going like this and his head about over there. So over here we would have a large area of his back, and it is angled. I mean, the front of his body is about facing us, and the back side of his body is just going backwards just by a little bit. So just gonna draw the basic shape for his tail, something like that. And so yeah, if you don't know what the beast from 20,000 Fathoms is, it is basically well, I don't really know too much about it because I haven't heard about it. I hadn't heard about it before I got this request, but it's basically something similar to Godzilla. Something like something happens and they wake up a dinosaur kind of thing from, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I excuse me, but I believe he is woken from something like ice, and then it sort of terrorizes the well, yeah, the mainland, I guess. So here would be his first front limb. He is holding it in the air. It is coming towards us quite a bit. And then he has a hand on it, or a paw, with a couple of, I believe there are 4 joints on there. And I'll later come back here and refine everything, of course, but for now this will do. And now his other front limb would go like this. It would be not really good visible. I mean, it's just behind. Well, let's say this is a little bit more back there. And I might have made his neck a little bit too long. By the way, a lot of you guys complain about the fact that I keep erasing some certain areas. I'm really sorry about that, and I know that I do that a lot, and that's actually because well, I mean, that's actually why I always tell people in my videos to not draw along, but just wait until it's finished and then try to do it again. Because I'm really sorry, but I'm not that good of an artist that I never have to erase anything. Alright, so his head is facing us slightly. So I'm gonna draw a line for where his the back of his head would be, and now I'm gonna draw a line for where his eyebrows will be. Something like this. Now I know the width of his head and what I want to try and accomplish. So now I want to have a little bit of a bump over there because of the big neck muscle that is right there. This comes inward a little bit more, and then over here we would have a very big nostril. It's very hard to draw this, to be completely honest. Oh, the screen of which I'm using the reference just went black. So we have an eyebrow there. Then we have a ridge over here. And then his lower jaw would be over here, going like this. This is more pointy like this. And then this line goes back quite far. And then we have the actual jaw, where the teeth are located at. So now I'll have to put an eye ridge like this down. And the other nostril would be right here. And I believe his head is a little bit too slim, a little bit too, it's not quite large enough. But I think we'll have to do with this because I'm not sure if I can get it better than what I have right now. So then we have a bottom area right here because we can still see the bottom part of his body. So over here will be his rib cage, and then we have this. I put this hind leg a little bit too close to his front leg, so I have to quickly adjust that. I have to put a little bit further back, a little bit more like over here. Over here would be his hip. So over here we will make a hind leg, which is quite curved, quite curving it for quite some bit. Make sure I pay attention to where the ground is. And then we would have a lot of claws as well over here, something like that. And yeah, this doesn't look quite as high as I would love, as I would like it to look. So just gonna adjust it a little bit. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't look perfect. I'm pretty sure it doesn't look as good as some of you have might have been able to draw it, but yeah, like I said, I'll just try to do my best and I'll see what comes out of it. So this would be his big muscle. Then we would have a very big muscle over here as well. I'm just slowly building it up. At first, don't press down too hard on your pencil, like I usually say. It's something that I quite commonly say. I'm just gonna make his head a little bit broader because it just looks a little bit too skinny. So basically over here would be his eyebrow, and that looks a lot better already. Alright. So now we still need to put in the other leg, his other hind leg, which would be about over here. And then we would have a couple of those claws, of course, his toes. About over there. Now we need to finish off his tail. And it's a dinosaur kind of monster that walks on his all of his 4 limbs. His tail is a lot like a reptilian animal. He just carries it around through, I mean, it's just constantly on the ground. So let's say this would be the length of his tail. So I'm gonna move the camera back a little bit more so you can see it a little bit better. It would be something like this, and it seems like this area of his tail is a little bit thinner. Not sure why. But I'm not gonna exaggerate that too much. And I'm just, well, the reference says that it looks like that, but I'm just gonna draw it just a tiny bit different so that it still looks kind of good, because it just didn't really look natural to me the way that I drew it. Alright. So now what we have to do is add the more of a little bit of detail and stuff. So over here we would have his eye, which will be shaped like this. I mean, this is not his eye yet, but that's the place where his eye will be placed at. So here we have his eye. And in my reference, the eye actually looks just a tiny little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna make it a tiny little bit bigger than what it was right there. Just a very big eye. Alright, this looks about good, I think. There was something going on over there, on that side as well. And this line goes further down like this. And let's darken his... Oh, and now I broke my lead. Of course, it was too far out, but I knew that was gonna happen. And over here as well. Alright, so now he has a couple of scales over here. Just go like this, and I think they turn into spikes. 2 of them, you can see 2 of them over here. And then his eye ridge also goes like this, but I'm gonna darken this area a little bit. And then we have a lot of lines going like this. All the way onto his nose. Same thing over here. And then we also have those lines going on over here. My screen went black again. And then I can see lots of scales that go... Actually, they start over here. I mean spikes that start over here. And they go along the length of his whole body. So just start over here, because now we can just draw them behind each other without going through those lines again. And sometimes you need to leave a little bit of space between them. Okay, so something that looks similar to this. And now they start over here again, but they get really big. So I'm just gonna draw a very thin line over here to indicate how high those spikes are going to be throughout the length of his whole body. So on the end of his tail they spike. I mean, they get really big all of a sudden, and then they get really small again. And by the way, the end of his tail is a lot thicker, like a crocodile. Or yeah, something like that. So I might want to start focusing on his hands, I mean his fingers now. So he has about 3 fingers that you can see from this side. So there's going to be one over here and one over here, and the last one will be over here. So basically you can see a claw over here that goes like this. Then you can see a claw over here that goes like this. And then the last one is a little bit smaller. It goes like this. Now we can refine this a little bit. So there are a couple of wrinkly lines appearing over here, and as well on his fingers. And here they change direction just a tiny bit, but I think this will be fine for now. So notice as I'm going darker and darker, as we come to the more precise detail, and later on I'm even gonna use a lot of shadow. So this was not supposed to be in my reference, this bump over here, but it just feel like putting it in because it looks, in my opinion, it looks a little bit better, a little bit more realistic. So from this foot you can only see, well, you can basically see every single finger. So you will have to put in every single finger. So there's gonna be one here, then there's gonna be one here, one here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and the last one will be all the way over here. Very big nail that you can see, big talon, or I mean it's not talons, it's just claws. Yeah, that's the right word for it, I think. So the way you draw this is just putting the lines to indicate the separation of the fingers, and then you can put in those little yeah, well, what to call them, I'm not really sure, just some curved lines going into the finger, and that way you will indicate an area where the nail, the claw, is actually attached to the creature, to his fingers. Okay. So now we can start on drawing some of the spikes. So there's gonna be one over here, one over here, and they are very simple shaped spikes, to be very honest. They're not really hard to draw. And from here on they just get smaller and smaller. And sometimes there's a lot of space between them, sometimes there isn't. Just try and play with it a little bit. So yeah, just go ahead and put those in. And try and do them very light at first. You can always go over it and darken it up a little bit so that it looks a little bit better. And over here I'm just not putting too much energy into it because I haven't really finished the line for his tail yet, which I should do. That's a little bit better. So this video might be in 2 parts, or I might just leave it in 1 part, because I'm not really sure if the video will be cut into 2 parts. Just making his neck a little bit thicker over here. I believe it's a little bit too thin, and also the back of his face is a little bit too thin. I want to make it a little bit thicker, make it look like it goes a little bit farther back. His lower jaw, a bit more like this. That looks a little, tiny little bit better. So yeah, just finish up these spikes. And like I said, they're getting really small there, and then just all of a sudden they get really big again. And really oddly shaped, to be honest. They won't be as sharp anymore, and the direction of where they are pointed at changes just by little amounts, and then about over there they stop. So yeah, let's now focus a little bit more on the detail. Yeah, so this nostril is supposed to be a lot larger. This one as well. And let's see. So he has 2 very big out-sticking teeth, almost like a snake. And I have to move my mouse again so that my image won't go black. He has 2 very pointy long teeth like that, just like that of a snake. And well, let's clear this up a little bit. So the line of his jaw goes back almost all the way, like that. And then this jaw line connects to that. And we have a couple of teeth coming through over there. Now the only teeth that we will be able to see are the teeth that are inside of his bottom jaw. Make sure you don't connect them to the line of his bottom jaw. Just leave a little bit of space. Might have made them a little bit too small, but I guess this is okay. And then get a line in between those teeth. And maybe a tongue, so you can put some shadow in. And this is a very complicated part for most people, to make it look like there is something inside of his mouth. So yeah, the fact is that the little lines are too small and my pencil isn't small enough. I mean, the point of the tip of my pencil isn't small enough to go in between those lines, so it looks a little bit messy right now, so you won't really be able to see too much going on there. Now we can add a couple of scales over here, like this, and also a couple of them around his eye. And we have a lot of scales going on his snout. They're just really random looking lines. Yeah, as long as you try to kind of replicate the kind of little lines that I'm doing. I mean, not exactly, of course, but just try and get your own style and everything, and do it at your own way, at your own pace. But I'm pretty sure that it will look about the same. So now we have a couple of, not really sure what those are. I think just some wrinkles over here going on. And then we have a line that goes down like this, all the way down like that. It changes into two lines, separates into two lines. And we will have a couple of scales along those lines, and even more, almost like crocodilian. Just shortening that area a little bit. Well, maybe I could keep it like this because it looks like this is his shoulder, so it looks pretty good. Like it's really muscular. Looks pretty okay in my opinion. So now I want to clearly define where his arms are. And put some, well, over here there will be a lot of scales that look like this. And then they connect to each other. And let's finish off his hind leg. So his knee would be about over here, this area. And then we have a big muscle over here, but sometimes there's also a large muscle that comes all the way from down there that also adds to his leg. So we're going to draw that in as well. So now we're going to have to draw his toes. So there's going to be one toe right there. Then there's going to be a huge one over here. And two smaller ones over there. So yeah, this one is kind of facing us. So just try and create something like this. Then this one is not quite facing us. So it's going to be really big. something like that. Then this one is also just going that way. And this one as well. And then you just connect it to the rest of his leg. Sorry, excuse me. So there are a couple of lines that still keep on going over here. Don't make them too dark. Make this line clearly visible though. And then you have a couple of lines that go like this. And now the only real hard area we still have to draw in is the other hind leg, which we shouldn't really be able to see too much of, but yeah. So we're gonna draw it exactly the same as this, but just reversed. So we can maybe see two toes over here. So there's gonna be one here, and the other one would be about over there. Something like that. So yeah, now we have to define the soft area. I mean, the underside of the creature is a lot softer than the upper side. So what we want to try and do is divide the area which is a little bit softer than everything else. So over here we have, I mean, at this area of his body it is dark green colored, and at this area it is white colored in my reference photo. So I'm just gonna make a line to where you want to keep that white color and make it a little bit darker at the area where it's supposed to be green. I have to move my mouse again. Okay, so there are gonna be a lot of scales going on everywhere over here on this drawing, but I'm not really going into the really detailed scales. I'm just gonna use an effect that will make it look like there are loads of scales everywhere. And as you can see, that's just by drawing some curved lines on top of each other, and it will make a pretty cool scaly effect. Sometimes you just draw a circle in it, and it, well, as you can see, it kind of works with it. It looks like there is something going on with detail and everything. So he has a couple of wrinkles over here. Wrinkles going into his neck. And whenever you see wrinkles or anything on a dinosaur-like creature, just draw them in, because that will add for more detail. It'll just look like there's a lot more detail going on at those areas. And over here it's just white and almost blank. There's almost nothing going on over here, just a couple of simple lines. And then you just keep on drawing those